I would make the case to you that screening and qualifying tenants is probably the most important step in managing rental property. And we think that we've boiled it down to a science. There's a couple of things that you should be thinking about. And the first is fraud. We see it up to 20% of the time, believe it or not, whether it's fake identification, fake pay stubs, fake landlord references. You have to have a way to catch those because people are using fake stuff all the time. You can just Google it. There are full-on companies who advertise that they will create an entire fake profile for you so that you can go apply for a rental. And they're relatively easy to catch, but if you don't know what you're doing, you might miss one and you end up putting somebody in a property who is not qualified to be there and potentially is up to nefarious things. We have a lot of systems in place to catch it. The first of which is just the application system that we use, which has a lot of front-end AI and things like that on it that's able to scan documents, scan IDs, and tell us whether or not there's something that we should be concerned about. We also do things like collecting multiple documents. So if there's pay stubs, we get multiple of them because if somebody is editing those, the chances are that they're going to make a mistake along the line. So if we can compare multiple against them, the chances are we're going to find inconsistencies. So that's the first area of concern that people don't always think about. The second one is fair housing. Over 90% of fair housing complaints are in the rental application process. So that's for all of real estate, lending, traditional real estate agents, buyers and sellers, and then rental property. The vast majority of complaints to fair housing come from this exact process. So you can't, in the name of trying to weed out fraud, be inconsistent in the way that you screen tenants and just say, oh, well, I'm just trying to weed out fraud or whatever, or you want a certain type of employment or certain type of income or whatever because you're going to step all over fair housing landmines. And so you should know what the protected classes are. You should know what you can say yes to, what you can say no to, when you can actually run credit, because believe it or not, California, there are times where you are not allowed to look at a credit report. It's just, if you don't know what you're doing, it's very easy to say something to a tenant, ask something of a tenant, deny a tenant for the wrong reasons, and next thing you know, you have a very expensive fair housing complaint or fine or lawsuit on your hands. People are concerned, landlords, of who they're going to rent their property to, rightfully so. But in California and in any state, but since we're in California, I'll say for us, you have to know not just the federal regulations, but the state regulations. And you can be as concerned as you want about who you're going to place. You still cannot discriminate, and you have to be very careful about that. So we do training all the time for our employees. We're constantly up to date on new laws. We use a scoring system that is completely objective. It looks at several different categories, such as their income amount, their debt to income ratio, credit score, if we're allowed to look at that, reasons for the credit score, if it's due to medical or student loan payments, we're going to weigh that differently than if they're not making credit card payments on time or rent payments on time or utility payments on time. So you have to have a way to do it objectively. We use a scoring system so that we can assign every applicant to any of our properties a score based on all these objective criteria, and then that score determines the outcome for them. So we have an excellent system on how we screen applicants. We have a whole other video that goes into depth about that if you're interested. I just wanted to highlight those two things for you because they're often overlooked, and in my mind, they're two of the biggest areas you can get in trouble, not just in the tenant screening process, but in owning rental property as a whole. This is an incredibly important step and also an incredibly easy step to mess up and to get it wrong. So I want you to be aware of those. If you have any questions about how we do it, again, check out the video or give us a call and we'd be happy to talk you through it.